The We Can't Spell Success Without You PowerPlan project presents PowerPlan Weight Loss Review, the Naughty Weeks compilation.
Well, hello there, and welcome back to the channel. So this is the continuation of the video, and really this is my live attempt, if you like, of using the plan to see what happens and basically figure out, you know, can I lose weight, once again using my book rather than conventional diets or conventional plans that we have currently on the market. Also, traditionally in the book we would rewrite the bloodstream. So in this situation what we're trying to do is look to see if or what the bodily changes are by using the plan. Now, week zero is basically preparation, and we have to do a few things. We have to go to our website, just switch over to desktop. So actually on the desktop, video like I've done in other videos, and just type in diet.info. Then it'll take us to our We Can't Spell Success Without You link, and by clicking on that it takes us to the web page. We go to the downloads link. On week zero, interested in two things. The first one being goal settings. You click on that, get to open a Word document, and on this document we can actually set our goals. There's a place to say what your current weight is, what weight you would like to achieve, by what date, and tick the box if it's the main target or not. Also in the book there is a section there, or a blank page, so you can actually fill in, you know, exactly the same information. Normally I use this to put in, I need to escape from diabetes, I need to reduce my weight to whatever, 17 stone, I want to be a size 40 waist rather than a size 46 waist. Whatever it is that your goal is and what you have in mind, that's what you need to put on the list, and that's your targets, what you want to achieve. Now in this situation I'm going to do it slightly differently. So what it was, I shopped on eBay, probably not the best ideas, and what I wanted was a jacket, and putting this jacket on, it kind of fits, you know, comfortably, it's not too bad, but what I do discover is that the arms are quite tight, so it'd be better if it's a baggy fit, and that can be achieved by actually reducing my weight. But also I bought a waistcoat which is meant to fit, and when I tried this on, as you can see, it's absolutely nowhere near. So what I want to do for my goals this time is obviously not be diabetic again, which we'll find out in a few weeks time, but also to wear this jacket so it feels comfortable and actually get this waistcoat on. And you know, I really do like this waistcoat, and you know, perhaps something that I can use for videos once the weight has been reduced. So that'll be a pretty good thing. So if we go back to the website, and once again in downloads we need to click on the daily food planner, and once again with all these things it will come up with another Word document where you can put in what you eat on a daily basis, the number of calories, saturated fat, carbohydrates, and the size and weight. Now if you look in the brand versus brand section, we cover a lot of this by looking at products and comparing the different brands and looking at calories, saturated fat and carbohydrates. So the idea here is for you to Google, so if you write down your food name or what you eat, breakfast, dinner, tea, supper, snacking, you're going to get a rough idea of what you're eating. It's week zero, so we're not doing anything with it. What I'd say is be honest with yourself and write down, and when you've got time just Google a few other things and figure out really what the number of calories are and what you've been eating, and you know, that should be quite interesting. What I tend to do is use on my phone Samsung Health and Samsung Health, simply like that, if you can see it. And what this allows you to do is put in what you have for breakfast, morning snack, afternoon snack, dinner, lunch, and evening snacks. It even lets you have evening snacks, which is quite interesting. So you can either print this and use this to fill in what you've been eating on week 0, but don't worry about it too much. Do a little bit of research on Google and see how many calories there are in each of the items or each of the foods that you've been eating. Also, you can use an electronic device like Samsung Health, and that generally will, if you put the right product in, will automatically tell you the number of calories and saturated fats eaten throughout, you know, this week 0. So that's the second thing to do, and the most important thing to do at this point is think of the goal list and be honest with yourself. So in the book for week 0, there's various other things that you need to do, which including read the book. So when it's released, it's well worth a read and following week 0 to a more detailed level. What I'm going to do, which is not in the book this time, is in the past everything's been rewritten and been proven to be rewritten by the use of blood tests. And I know that a lot of people are probably squeamish about going to the doctor, having blood tests anyway, and some people just simply won't even go to the doctor, never mind having a blood test. In theory, if you've got diabetes type 2 or you're a regular visitor at the doctors, then they will be giving you an annual blood test, see what's happening, you know, with things like diabetes levels, cholesterol, in general, good health with blood counts, and you know, also looking at your white cells and your red cells to see if you're currently ill or had an infection, if you're under the weather, or if you're as fit as a fiddle. You know, these things happen. What I'm going to do is slightly different. Now, when I was very young, what I wanted was a weight done which wasn't on traditional scales, and the idea is that it would tell you how much muscle you had, how much fat you had, with the argument is, well, I'm always overweight, but is it because I've got so much muscle versus fat? And that's the reason why I can't lose the weight. If I'm active, building up more muscle, the muscle appears for me to be fat. And interestingly enough, that I think in the 90s that facility was available, but to get weighed at that level would cost the NHS about £3,000 per weigh-in. So it was an absolute no-go from the request. But these days you can actually buy scales which does exactly the same. I mean, it is about 30 years on. You can actually get scales which does exactly the same. You can buy them on eBay from anything from £20 right the way through to £200, and you have them to home, which is brilliant. On this week 0, what I've done is gone out and actually purchased the scales. So I've got them here. I think these was about £20 or so. And basically what it does is when you sit on them, stand on them, it comes up with the display there telling you how heavy you are. But what happens is that you've got silver areas, the scales, like these, and what that does, it shoots, if you like, a very, very small current of electricity from this pad, or these pads, right the way through the leg and back down the other leg. So it actually registers on here. Based on the amount of time it takes from going from one to the other, it actually manages to work out various things. So what you do is you just put those on the floor, you get the good old smartphone, you press go, see that is just waiting for somebody to stand on the scales, work out exactly way. What's interesting about this, and what I'm going to do through this attempt, is see what changes on the scales. Now the scales are going to tell me my weight. Obviously I'm not overweight, so that's nice and easy. It's going to tell me my BMI. Interestingly enough, it goes from low, healthy, high to obese. I know I'm going to be in the obese range, but what's interesting is that if you go to the NHS, show you a little bit more, you've got obese, morbidly obese, clinically obese, which kind of, oh no, morbidly obese, oh, panic. So I like these because it just says obese. We're going to look at fat itself. Now this is external fat. This is the fat on your stomach, the fat on your legs, the fat on your arms, fat on your boobs. Basically the fat that you can actually see. Interesting. It's also going to tell us the muscle, so it's the muscle mass index calculated by muscle mass body weight and height. So this is going to tell us how much muscle is actually in the body, along with how much fat's in there. It's also going to tell us how much water's in your body. You're actually drinking enough water, are you retaining enough water, and that's from low, healthy to excellent, which is once again interesting because a lot of people would argue, well, what happens if I drink too much water? Well, there isn't too much water on here, just low, healthy, excellent. It's also going to do bone mass, so obviously when you gain weight your mass becomes bigger, but when you lose weight naturally your organs start to shrink and your bone structure starts to shrink. So if you lost 10 stone over say 2 year period of time, in effect you're regenerating yourself to a point where you're going to have less bone, you're going to have less of everything really, but internal organs, heart, liver, going to remain healthy. It's also going to show metabolism. And metabolism, some people have it quite low, but it's important to keep the exercises going. If you're healthy, that's great. If your metabolism's quite high, which is actually with obese people, there's a metabolism's low, that's the reason why I can't do things. You'll find is that the metabolism is actually quite high. It has to be, it's carrying so much weight. Even the body doing basic things like walking, standing, cooking is quite a task, so you have to have an high metabolism. But the most interesting point, what these scales do, is tell you about your visceral fat. And like I said, it's going to tell you how much fat you're carrying, how much muscle you're carrying, and that's what's visible. Visceral fat is the amount of fat internally, the amount of fat around your liver, the amount of fat what could be in your kidneys, the amount of fat that could be actually in your veins, lead to heart failure. Well, the visceral fat is important to bring down. Then that's measured in low, healthy, high and obese, giving you a percentage. So, obviously I'm obese, so the visceral fat's going to be quite high. What I'm hoping, or what I suspect is that as you lose weight, you're going to lose the external weight, but because this plan actually rewrites the bloodstream, it'd be interesting to see if you lose visceral fat faster. So that's what we're going to do. So we're going to use special scales, which is going to give a reading in week 1 of all those elements, and see how we go. But that's all we're going to do. So we're going to do goal list, we're going to write down what food we're eating, we're going to use Google to have a look, see how many calories are in the food, we're going to use special scales, basically going to give us a breakdown of muscle, water, fat, visual fat, and all those other things which I said. And this is what the scales say. What we're going to do is start setting up the £2 line, which has been in other videos. And also what we're going to do is go back onto the download site and have a look to see our targets are for food for weight loss. Now this series of videos is looking at weight loss, not weight gain, because that affects the most people. And the other thing that we need to do is, now we've got these scales, is actually take a weight. So if you actually go onto the scales and take your initial weight and write it down, and we're not interested in anything else, just the initial weight. What we need to know is, like, is your lifestyle currently going to put weight on naturally, or you're going to lose weight naturally? A lot of people, like, especially addicted to food, will say, oh no, I'm going to go off on some sort of diet or some sort of plan, will put weight on, and that just proves that there's in a food addiction. You want more in week 0 than probably even what you'd normally eat. And other people will probably kind of think, well, I'm doing things in week 0, so I may as well be more aware, maybe cut down on a few things, avoid that cake or avoid that packet of crisps, which is fine. So for those people, you'll probably see that the weight will come down slightly. But the main thing is, record week 0 weight and write it down on a piece of paper. In week 1, we'll have a look to see what we need to do with it. Come to week 1. Week 1 is basically going through the plan, looking at what I eat and see what the results are. So obviously with myself, I'm going for weight loss. You could be using the plan for weight gain, you could be using it to improve your heart issues, or using it to try and control sugar issues, things like diabetes. Obviously if you go through the brand versus brand challenge videos, or you look at the download section, is that will advise you on which is the best type of food to get. Wonderful. But for now we are just looking at what happens with me using this plan pre-book release, how much weight can be lost, and by using the scales that we had in week 0, that's going to tell us what muscle I have, how much water I'm gaining or losing, etc, etc. On the week 0 video, it's a case of creating your food diary, which once again you can use brand versus brand to actually make these foods a better option. Also, we have done a goal list. As we saw in the video, I just want to get that jacket on. I'm not 100% sure it's my style, but you know, it'd be nice to actually wear it without the tight arms and finally get into that waistcoat, which will make me look very smart. I'll probably do a range of videos late this year using the waistcoat, which will be interesting. So them are my main goals. I'm doing that because I don't really want to show you the clothes that I used to wear, because I don't really think that's a good incentive. So food diary is done, goal list is done. So what we have to do now is go back to the website, because if you've looked at previous videos, we use a thing called the £2 line, and the idea is that you would lose an average on a healthy diet around £2 a week. So if we go back to Google and we type in NA diet info, and that'll come up with We Can't Spell Success Without You website. If we click on that, and what we need to do is go on to downloads and click on the £2 line. Now I'm going to go for 24 weeks. So we've got the options here for 6 weeks, 12, 24, 36. So if I click on this one, which is the 24-week one, and we can save it to the desktop, we have our own copy. So while that's loading up, originally I actually wanted to do this exercise in January. I have actually delayed it until March. One of the main reasons is because my back actually relapsed, and to do exercise, any form of it, is very, very difficult. So it's not been too bad at the time. It's probably a very, very good time to make a start on that. So the worries which I've got, obviously, is I'm still on statin drugs, because you know that encourages weight gain. So that's problem number one. Problem number two is that I've got spinal DDD, which means that the discs on the spine have gone, which means it's extremely unpredictable on a daily basis. So I'm hoping to get as much exercise in as possible, but that's going to make it difficult. And if during this 24-week relapse, it's probably going to result into weight gain if I'm completely inactive. So that's a worry. And then of course the third worry is that I'm now 49, coming up to 50, and you know, the older you get, the more difficult it is to lose weight. So that's another challenge within itself. And the last challenge for me really is I have been on this plan as I've developed the book. What I'm doing now is trying to do this as a customer. So I've got the advisory from the book, and it's telling me what to do on a daily basis. And what I want to do is see how easy it is to follow and see if I'm committed to actually doing this or not. Last week, part of week 0, we said weigh yourself and keep hold of that weight and put it somewhere safe. This is the time to use it, because we have a spreadsheet which opens up, and here it is. Now what we have to do is put in the weight for week 0. So we've popped that in there. So in my case it's 267 pounds at this moment in time, which obviously is quite heavy. If we click at the bottom on the £2 line itself, and we will discover is that we have a blank chart that is only our start weight, because this is the start of week 1. So what we have to do now is go back to the website and click back on downloads, and on here we have the BMI calorie counter. So we click on that, open it, and then save it to the computer. So what we need to do is that as you're downloading these files, is make sure you save them in a safe place on the computer. We will be going back to them on a week-to-week basis. So as long as it's saved, then you know you can keep track of progress on what we're doing, which is exactly what I'm doing. So what we're going to use the BMI calculator for is very, very simply, this is going to tell you how many calories your body needs. And then we're going to say, well, how much do we need to lose weight? That's going to reduce the figure down, and that's going to give you a target number of calories per week, which is exactly what we're aiming for. Right, so here's the BMI calculator. We'll zoom in a little bit so we can see it roll across. There we go, hopefully that's a little bit better. So what I've done with this is just personalised it, so you can put your name, even what sex you are, so you can add your little drag down menu, or male I think, height. Now interestingly enough, before my back issues I was 5'6", but now I've kind of shrunk, I'll do with age as well, to 5'5", I'm currently 49. Now we need the pounds, how many pounds away on week 0, so we nip back to here, 267, so 267 pounds is what we need. And at that point what it's done, it's already worked out that you're obese. Now if you go to the doctors, they'll tell you underweight, normal weight, obese, clinically obese, morbidly obese to scare you. What this does, it just tells you that you're obese, and as I say in my book, just make a note of this. So my BMI is around 44. If you tell that to the doctors, then they'll say, oh, so you're interested in your health, and you're interested in how much you weigh and things like that, rather than give me your lectures of what obese means or what clinically obese means and stuff like that. We're not really brilliantly involved in this, in this plan. However, it's there as a reference which can be very useful when you go to the doctors. And because, a quick note, can put male in, come back saying I need at least 1,200 calories. If I put in female, it will say that you need a minimum of 1,000 calories. So back to male, and obviously we've got another little menu here, and clicking on there we have the option of L to lose weight, S to stay the same, or G to gain weight. So we're going to go for L to lose, and that then gives us a target of 1772 calories we can have on a daily basis. In fact, what I've done there, I've made a mistake. So once we've entered the amount that we weigh on week 0, we need to reweigh ourselves, preferably start the plan. So Monday is an ideal situation. You should have made notes of the time when you weighed yourself and hopefully the clothes that you was wearing. You put the clothes back on and reweigh yourself. This is your official start weight, the week 0, 267 pounds. That was just, how you would normally behave. Week 1 you've been reading the book, probably not been as active. You may have been more active planning routes. You could have lost or gained weight. If you've lost weight, you've been really good. You've started to think about food. You've probably been looking at what sort of food you've been eating and probably even made the odd switch. And if you've been practicing the walking routes, then that would get into weight loss. If you're like me, you're kind of going, oh well, here we go again, I need to prepare the videos. I've not been as active. I know the routes which I'm going to do, I've done them many times before. And also things like, I love bread, I love crisps, so I'm probably packing as much as I can, which is my probably addictive items which I'd have. So very, it's a bit like if you're going to give up smoking, you probably smoke double the week before than what you would do, because you just know that you want to quit. So weigh yourself, and we need to put in week 1, which is the start of the week weight. In my case, that comes in at 273 pounds. Which if we go to the £2 line, we have now our start, and obviously that is where the line, begins. We're on the line and maybe slightly above the line, depending on how it's shown graphically on your computer. But £273 is our start weight. We actually put in the start weight in pounds, which is 273. Which we go back, we did put 267 in, so it's a correction on the video, but that gives us a calorie target of 1,807 calories a day. The rest of the video quote 1772, it was a mistake, so our target's 1,807 calories, as we can now see on the screen. So at this point, if you're using a food tracker to count the calories per day, you can put in the target as 1772, thereabouts. And what this does now, it gives us a range, so we've got to eat between 1,200 calories, 1,772 calories, or thereabouts. Now, the calorie count is actually quite low, but using brand versus brand, you can switch your foods, you can find better products with lower calories by eating the same, or you can have a go at home cooking, which is wonderful. You've got control of it. Or if you're going having a takeout, have a think, do I really want, say, an 800 calorie Big Mac with fries and a drink, maybe milkshake, Do I want a chippy which is going to be about 700 calories, or shall I go, I don't know, say to Subway? Subway you can get a roll there, 6-inch, and that works out, depending on what you have, between 250 to 500 calories approximately from memory. So, you could say, well, instead of the chippy today, I fancy a treat, it's Friday night, let's go to Subway, and that's going to chunk calories down. Which is what we want, and if we can do that and think twice before we eat, then we're going to be able to control weight a lot better. So now we get to the big question is, what did they actually eat in week 1? We'll go through that next. So we're starting this on 25th of March, and what I've done, like I said in the last video, is tracked everything on that and put in calorie target, which on this one seems to go up in 50s, so I put 1750 in rather than 1772. But there we go. So what we've done is we've just whizzed through all this. So breakfast, we had black pudding, which was quite nice, mushrooms, scrambled egg, red tomatoes. I'm not exactly starving and not eating salads. Then for lunch, I just went for tomato and red pepper soup because I'm quite full after breakfast. I'm the sort of person which can skip breakfast and try and make the effort to eat it. But on the plan, you have to eat breakfast. So once you've had a big breakfast like that on day 1, soup will suffice over lunchtime. Then I got a bit hungry in the afternoon, you're at work and stuff. So I went and got the packet soup, a vegetable soup. And we have these in the machine so they're free at work, which is quite good. But they're only 52 calories. So if you think about it, I could have got a packet of crisps, which is 200 calories. I'll just get a soup, quite filling. A lot of it, if you're feeling hungry, a lot of it you need to taste of something. I got the soup at that, and that carried me on until late afternoon. And late afternoon, I just went for a packet of Walker's chicken crisp. Anybody who knows me, I absolutely adore crisps, I absolutely adore bread. There may be 2 worst points, there may be 2 enemies. So having a soup, I could have easily had 2 packets of crisps, which would be 400 calories. Having a soup and having a crisp knocked it down to 22 calories for the second in the afternoon. Then we get to dinner. And for dinner, we had pizza, yes. So went for the servings of pizza. Instead of having half of one, just had a slice of it, and added to that cucumber, cherry tomatoes, lettuce, olives, which is quite nice, and a little bit of yogurt. So instead of going for your salad cream, going for mayonnaise or something like that, you can get minty yogurt. Got a little bit of minty yogurt in. Very, very nice. Really, that's quite a lot of food. And that came into 1,549 calories. So what I did at the end of the day, just top it up with glasses. Quite nice. So we're even having alcohol at this point. And we're still, that includes, so the 1,549 calories included the alcohol in. I did have the stomach tonic. The stomach tonic, I don't take calories on board, it's hardly anything. And, it's a bit like celery, the good outweighs the bad. So it was like 50 calories, I've not put that on. However, it removed the hunger. Tuesday. Breakfast, once again we ate the bacon this time, mushrooms, scrambled eggs, and red tomatoes, which is similar to the first one. And I think the telltale sign is to get up and drive to work, and at work we have a restaurant, and in the restaurant they have a canteen that does very nice breakfast. So there we go, that's a bit of a sign. So bacon, mushroom, scrambled egg, red tomatoes for breakfast. For dinner, I went for a salad. It was boiled egg, cherry tomatoes, green olives, cucumber, lettuce, and I did actually have a soup, so a mulligatawny soup, which came at 210 calories, not proper soup. Proper soup. Very, very nice, but avoid the croutons, just have the soup. Going into the afternoon, we had later. I kind of did a bit of a snacky day, so in late afternoon to evening, we actually had a tomato soup, a can of Heinz tomato soup. I don't really like it, gives me heartburn, but I just fancied it. Probably from the Mulligatawny. And this time, 2 packets of Walker's cheese and onion crisps. Because I like crisps. And then in the evening, we continued the snacky bit, so I just got a bag of popcorn. That popcorn, it's different, it gives a taste, and that's quite good. It's, if you get the oblong popcorn, it's very little calories in it. You can have 117 calories. It's very, very light. 27 grams, which is why I had a big bag of popcorn, really. 117 calories. And I did finish off once again with the gin. That came to 1,739 calories, which is just under the daily limit. And once again, quite a lot of food for a Tuesday. So Wednesday, and we have, once again, mixing it up in the canteen. We had sausage, mushroom, red tomatoes and scrambled egg for breakfast, which once again makes you feel full right throughout the day. In fact, no, I didn't. I actually made that at home. I've just realised because that day I was off work, so I made that at home. And at lunchtime, probably mid-afternoon, I went for the original curry pot noodle. Oh no, is that if you're trying to lose weight? But hey ho, I was probably busy doing some jobs around the house or something. Annoying me probably doing videos or something like that. So pot noodle dinner. So probably feeling guilty after the pot noodle in the evening. We had a nice chicken stir fry, so you go down to the market, get a bag of these bits of veg, peppers and all sorts in it, onions, mushrooms, really good. So chicken stir fry for tea, and then in the evening, feeling pretty stuffed after the big breakfast, after the stir fry and the pot noodle. So I just went for a couple more glasses of gin. Keep the alcohol good. I always say start these plans on Monday because you're in a routine and you can adapt to a routine that you're currently in far easier than when you're not in a routine. Obviously, most of us work Monday to Friday, and we're out of a routine at the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. So the approach to Friday is always a bit of a worry for me, especially at night, Friday night. I love to have, say, a bottle of red wine, you can chill out. So Fridays are always a bit more iffier than what it is during the week. Hello. Play halfway through a video and get a phone call. Have you been involved in a road accident? Here we go. So, yeah, so Fridays look a bit more difficult, but let's see what we did. So, breakfast. We went for, it's a Friday treat. Fried bread, but half a fried bread. With red tomatoes, which I like on top, muffins the bread down, and scrambled egg. Now, you might be noticing to say I'm having a lot of egg considering I've got a hereditary heart condition. But we'll go through the truth about cholesterol in different videos. It'll all be explained. Morning snack, it's Friday, just a mushroom soup. So what I've done obviously is that I've had the bit breakfast, it's not been as much as I've had throughout the week. Got a bit package, get down to the restaurant, I've had mushroom soup on, so I've just got all made in a fat mushroom soup. For lunch I've actually been clever here. While I've been asked, I've noticed that they've had a canned stew steak, which didn't seem too bad. About 400 calories, and I made myself some sprouts. So sprouts are really low in calories. The benefit about this, you can have the steak, which is brilliant, but you can use the sprouts as a filler, and that's going to fill you up for most of the day. So for lunch it was sprouts and stew steak, microwaved at work, but prepared the night before. Being clever at trying to be. Now for tea, what we're doing is that we're trying to make some pizza up, so pizza will be featured on the channel. It's a brand new recipe, but what we're doing is that instead of having a salad this time, I've already had salad, just make up a big 12-inch pizza, put it in half, have half of that with mushrooms, peppers, pepperoni, various fillings on it. It's all very nice. So for evening meal, it was Dad's pizza half, which comes in about 600 calories. So it encourages you to lose weight. Yes, pizza that encourages you to lose weight. Videos will be coming up on that one. And then guess what? For the evening snack, we went for crisps and bread. I knew bread would come on here sooner or later, so in effect it's like a crisp butty for the snack. So I have to have the couple of gems, and the problem is with that, it comes in at 1,896 calories, which is over the 1772. It's Friday, I knew it would be. Hey ho, there we go. But, it's not that far over. I think it's about 100 calories. For a Friday night for me, it is pretty good. So, Saturday. It's Saturdays. Well, I love it because you're off work, but I hate it because, have temptation. So, for breakfast on a Saturday, carried on with the breakfast theme. But this time, come at home, we've got access to bread, which is free. So, 2 slices of bread, 2 pot sausages, mushrooms, bacon, red tomatoes, and scrambled egg. It's weekend, so I like to have a big breakfast, get going on it. That comes in at 759 calories, so that's the most I've had for breakfast throughout the entire week. It killed me to eat it. But, I got it down subsequently for lunch, so there's no morning snacks. Subsequently for lunch, it was more bread with a can of oxtail soup and a packet of crisps. And that was throughout the afternoon. So once again, okay, you've got the big breakfast, the metabolism's going, you're having less food in the afternoon and tonic every single day in this week. That's helping with any form of hunger issues. And then for Saturday night, we had a couple of more gins. If I go and get a can of Guinness, just fancy a can of Guinness, why not? They say it's good for you. So a can of Guinness at night, so it's a big breakfast, snacky oxtail soup and bread throughout the afternoon, packet of crisps, and then at night, can of Guinness and some more gin. That was Saturday, felt great. So yeah. And then on Sunday I think I had a line, so it's the first day where I skip breakfast, skip morning snack, not to me, shouldn't do that. But then for dinner, we'll make quiche with lettuce, yogurt dressing, cucumber, a bit of a salady quiche, and calories are in the quiche. It's all made, it's made with cheese and eggs again. I didn't have any afternoon snack, that quiche was really filling, it was all made. And then for dinner we had sausage, and cheese bread. So not quite sure we had there. Sausage, cheese, probably. Oh, I think my daughter wanted chips and sausage, so I pinched the sausage, and then I decided to have cheese and toast later on. So I just had like, a couple of slices of bread with cheese on it, and a couple of red wine decor small stuff, and that came in at 1,066 calories. Once again, over 1,750, and you could argue quite significantly over. But them are all the calories they had in that week. So next thing to do is look at exercise. So for exercise, what we're doing, it's no big secret, it's been mentioned on videos before, we're walking, trying to hit the 10,000 steps in week 0 with a peppered by doing some form of a route, practicing that route until you feel comfortable so you can get the step count in. Challenge really is to get 10,000 steps in within a day, and even if you just miss it by a few steps, it's classed as a fail. If you do the 10,000 steps on each day, then it's classed as successful. Then quickly running through, so Monday, get motivated, wanted to do it, got it in, so Monday was successful, Tuesday was successful, Wednesday and Thursday was failures. I've got about 8,000, maybe 7,000 steps in on those days. Just distractions. Got home and thought, oh, what the hell, I'll just watch TV or something. I could have made a bit more of an effort, to get the other 2,000 steps in, but I didn't do. Friday was successful. Saturday and Sunday was failed, mainly because probably more like 6,000 steps a day. But I've got a busy weekend, stuff like that, and being, just the thought of this being another plan as a customer, kind of things. Well, as long as I'm active, I'll be okay. So Monday, Tuesday, Friday, hit the 10,000 steps, if not beyond. The other days was around 10,000, or about 8,000, with the exception of the weekend, which was about 6,000. What we have to remember is that I've not been good on the exercise, and I've gone over a couple of days on the calories. Target of the book is to lose 2 pounds of weight or more per week, and I've kind of like, yeah, this is going to work, this is going to be good. Probably not been as committed as what I should be to it, but it's the way that it is. So what we've done in that week, which weren't a mega successful week, is actually lose 4 pounds, which I thought was really good going. And also you've got to remember is that the exercise which I'm doing is a little bit limited due to an extremely chronic bad back. So 4 pounds I'm quite happy, and if we click on the £2 line, we have the line there, and we can see that we're under the line. And if we zoom in, scroll across a little bit, we are comfortably running under that line, which is pretty good and exactly what we want. So that's the end of week 1. We're all on week 2. Like I say, the stomach tonic saved me from the hunger pangs, and also the pickled onions that you get. Just got the Asda Smart Price ones. Now and again, just pop one in, next to nothing calories. The next thing to do is to have a look to see what actually happened to my body according to the smart scales. So as a quick recap from the week 1 video, what I've done is put the weight in kilograms. Now the scales which I've got actually measured in kilograms is 123.7, which is the equivalent of 273 pounds. And we put the day at week 1. Now this spreadsheet isn't actually available online at the moment, but I can make it, so if people have interest, let me know in the comments. But what we're going to look at is BMI, which the scales calculate at 45.4. Now the amount of fat, now this is visible fat around the stomach area, what you see, now that is 40.4. And the next one is how much muscle that you're carrying in. So all of this is in kilograms, so I'm carrying 70 kilograms or 11 stone of muscle. How much water have I got? Which is 47.2. Now hopefully that'll go up, now the better for how much water is actually in your system. Now visceral fat is the amount of fat which is around your organs, in your arteries, around your liver, in your kidneys. Far more important to reduce than normal fat, which comes in at 35. Then we've got bone mass, which is 3.79 kilograms. And metabolism, which gives me a metabolism rate of 2165.6. So clicking at the bottom we have smart scales graphs. And because it's week 1, the only thing it's done is just given a starting point of each of all the graphs. And we can have a look at these in week 2, 3, 4, 5 and beyond to actually see what's happening for each of the sections. So hopefully the weight will come down, BMI will come down, but we don't know what's going to happen to my metabolism, bone mass, visceral fat. That'll be interesting. So that is what the smart scales say. So just to conclude, that we have gone over a few days from the calorie counts. Sorry about the mistake in the video to begin with. Interestingly enough, at the time I looked at my phone at 1,750 calories, which is not a bad trick. It will encourage you to, you know, if you're 50 calories under your target, then it's going to encourage you to try and stick to it a little bit better. As we discovered, it actually went over a few days and didn't get the exercise in that required. However, we did lose 4 pounds. And once again, I'm trying to do this as more of a user of the book rather than the author of the book. So mistakes will be made, but even making mistakes, it just goes to show that the plan already kicked in, resulting into a 4 pound weight loss. The exercise is probably, from my perspective, is I am back under physio with my back, so it's difficult to actually get 10,000 steps in a day, but hopefully over the next few weeks physio will help. So I would say, you know, considering I've had pizza and, you know, various other junky type foods, along with, you know, salad, but only twice, no fruit, drinking gin, bottle of red wine, I would say that's a good result to lose 4 pounds in the first week. So let's roll on for next week and have a look at, see what week 2 shall bring. It'd be nice if I can get a little bit more committed to the walking and the steps, number of steps that I need, but you know, once again, it depends on an unpredictable back. And calorie wise, I didn't do too bad, which results into weight loss even though you're not really dieting. One thing where I didn't feel deprived throughout the entire period of time, however, I did feel hungry on the Monday, but the stomach tonic, hunger pangs and cravings. So, you know, it was a good result. And we've got a start point for the smart scales rather than having blood tests. So it'd be interested in week 2 to see what happens there. So thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to use the comments, let me know what you think. If you've got any questions or if you want any helps and tips, use the comments, or even better, email me. I'll put the email address up on screen. If you go to nadiet.info, back to the website, there's a contact us section there. You can also send an email via the website, which is probably far easier to do. Hello there, welcome back to the channel and welcome to week 2. Now, week 1 we went through and we lost 4 pounds, which was very successful. And you know, if you look at the last video, I wasn't eating mega over, but managed to lose quite a chunk of weight, which was brilliant, and you know, perfectly happy with that. So week 2, we're talking like it's the end of week 2, it's a bit of a review. I know that week 1 was kind of leading up to what we was doing, and then actually looking at the results. So what we're going to do is just look at the results on this video. The only, I would say week 2 was a breeze, didn't feel hungry at all, just went through it, you know, it was fine. I was trying to incorporate a bit more walking, and of course being in a situation where you probably have a bit more fruit, to concentrate a little bit more on vegetables, even though I was being good. I was having the soups and things, the old maize soup, which would obviously contain the vegetables that you need for 5 a day. But what I found is that on week 2, things like, you know, the plan encourages you to have water, drink water on a regular basis. A lot of people overweight, including myself, kind of dismiss water. You know, you're having tea, you're having coffee, or you might be having gin or, you know, some form of alcoholic drink at night, or you might be drinking over the weekend, but during the week you just either not drinking or you just have your teas and coffees again. And we really do forget the importance of water. And what I was finding on week 2 is by having water on a regular basis, which is one of the habits in the book, is that it kind of, shall we say, softens certain areas, and you go to the toilet a little bit more. But of course you naturally go to the toilet a little bit more if you're losing weight. The fat's got to go somewhere, and unfortunately the toilet is where it goes. So if you're used to going to the toilet say twice a day for a poo, or a number 2 as we used to say when we was kids, then you probably go more frequently than that, and likewise you'll urinate more, because you're drinking water, and basically it gets rid of the toxins and the excess fat. So there we go. So that was a bit gross for week 2. But that was the only problem, is just going to the loo a bit more than what you normally would do. Right, so for what we have to do now for week 2 is go back to our spreadsheets, go back to Super Online, and it tells us that our current weight is £269. So if we go back to the BMR spreadsheet, we have to put in, it was £273, we're going to put in £9. And what that does is recalculate the number of calories. We've now dropped to 74 calories as our target weight. And obviously we're still obese. You know, we could be obese for quite some time, or I will be. But the main thing is we're now looking at 1,784 calories per day. So it's actually reduced because we lost 4 pounds in weight. So now we have the targets. What we can do is have a look to see what we actually did with the food. And once again, at Monday, see is that still went for white bread, just an habit, and a fried egg, and baked beans, full portion of baked beans. In effect, it's a can. You know, if you look at every can and it kind of says per half portion, well, nobody does. Puts in half a tin of baked beans and then leaves the other half in the fridge and you forget about it. Most people just throw the entire can in. Suppose the exception is if you cook food, you probably share a can, but I'm going for you got a can of baked beans, I'm going to use it all. That's what I did. Then for dinner, because once again, baked beans might fill in, so for going towards dinner, I just had a banana, yes, here comes the fruit, and a packet of ready salted crisps. And I kind of went really wrong in the afternoon. I just thought, you know, my brain's going, well, you need to look a bit of fruit, you need something different. I spotted a picnic bar, which is something that I've not seen since my childhood. Thought it was fantastic. We'll have one of those. So I get one of those in the afternoon, which, you know, considering it's 230 calories just for a chocolate, it's not a great idea. But hey-ho, we've included chocolate as well today. And then for tea, I must have been rushed around again, so I went for another slice of bread. Kind of dipped it into the naked noodle Singapore curry pot, which are not too bad, so they're coming at 200 calories. And finally, for evening snack, just went, I was probably getting really fed up with gin. I decided if I have a couple of cans of Guinness. Problem is, if you're drinking gin with a diet tonic water, probably looking at about 50 calories per drink. For a can of Guinness, it's 158 calories. And of course, the result of that is that I took 1,953 calories in that day. But going for things like Guinness and, you know, draft beers, it's far harder to control the calorie count on a daily basis. So, not the best of days I'm gone over. However, Tuesday comes along, and breakfast again, had tomato and red pepper soup. So this is one of the days that we all eat it. We want breakfast, we know we should have breakfast, we can't have it. So I've gone here for like a cup of soup, tomato, catch it, chuck it in there, put water in. It's not the best of foods, but it's something that's going to still get the metabolism running. You know, it's better than having nothing at all. So I'll skip breakfast in effect, but I didn't do it, just had an instant soup. And then for dinner, we had a beef stew. We were served with potatoes, a little bit of veg in there. So once again, you know, not salads or anything like that. For afternoon snacks, it's the return of the good old crisps, the cheese and onion crisps, followed by vegetable soup, which is the Knorr one. It's freebies from work again, about 52 calories. Right. Then for dinner, it was tuna salad from Subway, which actually came in at 290 calories. During the evening, it was a case of red wine time, bottle of Eccles Falls red. But it's not bad because it's a Subway, a bottle of red wine. That came in amazingly at 1,700. So the Wednesday, I think I went to some sort of convention or something like that, so I weren't at home, I weren't near the office. And breakfast got a no-no. And while I was at this convention, they had some like French fries sort of thing, just a few. So that was kind of a late breakfast. It's absolutely appalling. You're trying to lose weight, and it's like, oh well, we'll go and get some French fries. It's convenient food. I'm conscious I need something. There's nothing else around, so we'll just have some of those. So potato French fries for kind of 11 o'clockish breakfast. Then of course for lunch it was the tuna sub bacon. He wrote in a boat, which was nice and convenient. Then in the afternoon I managed to get a carrot and coriander soup, which was homemade, which is nice in party 5 a day. Followed by dinner. I kind of went to look a bit late for dinner, so it's a packet of flame grilled steak crisps. Once again, I love the crisps, so you know I'm not feeling deprived. I've got the crisps and stuff like that. Chips in the morning, crisps in the afternoon. And I also went to get the liver, bacon and mash ready-made meal from Asda of all places. I kind of thought at this point I've kind of messed up the day with having the chips. And all that liver's quite healthy. It's very any form of offal type food is very low in calories, so I kind of must have thought of this as being a bit of a saviour. And that's what I had for the evening meals. And then in the evening, being, you know, my mission for the week is to have more fruit, I went back to bananas, so I had 1 banana, and then some gin, back to the gin, because obviously it's a lot less calories than what it would be if you draft beers. And that gave me a grand total for Wednesday of 1,571 calories, which once again, considering I've been to Subway, treats, not bad at all. But Thursday I wanted to try and, you know, kind of get back into the swing of things. There's big distractions, you're out of your current routine. So Thursday was a typical Thursday, so we're back in the office. So for breakfast we're back on black pudding, mushrooms, red tomatoes and scrambled egg, which is almost a standard breakfast. But then for dinner it was case it's curry day. You go and have curry, which is half and half. It's half chips, half rice for the curry. Great way of keeping the carbs down to a degree. Leek and potato soup. That for me has been the biggest dinner at 770 calories. After that afternoon snack, late on, it was a late tea that day, probably about 5 o'clock, packet of cheese and onion crisps, no surprise. And in the evening, it was stuffed peppers. So what I've gone and done is got some red peppers, put a sausage, fried it up kind of thing, chopped it up so it fits into the pepper, put a little bit of cheese on top. So I didn't have the cheese, I had the mushroom. So I tried the cheese. So stuffed pepper basically, sausage, mushroom, stuffed pepper. And that was for tea. And then a couple of gins again, because we want to prove that you can lose weight by drinking and stuff like that. 1,713 calories on that day. Once again, under the limit. So, and then we hit Friday, I hate the weekends like I said in the last video. So on Friday I skipped breakfast completely. Lunch came along and it was a case of cheese and onion pasta with beans, which was probably the obvious thing I could find at the time. Totaling 554 calories. And in the afternoon you suddenly started feeling, you know, late afternoon, got home, you started feeling pecky, so it was a case of bread, quite a bit of bread, about 3 slices of bread, that toasted, with an egg, fried egg. And more of a standard sort of meal that you'd have. For tea time it was back to the naked noodle Chinese, Chinese chow mein naked noodle, which was good, that sort of thing. It was really convenient. And then a couple of gins at night, in fact quite a few gins at night. It's Friday night, it's really cool for that day, which for Friday night is not too bad, not been deprived at all. Saturday was quite good. Like there, 243 calories for breakfast, which was basically a BLT, so it's 2 slices of bread with lettuce and tomatoes and slices of bacon. Not had a BLT for a long time. Followed by dinner, which was a fillet of fish in a batter, which was oven baked, and actually fried chips was actually made from fresh potato with a spoonful of oil, which is great. You can have 100 gram serving for 50 calories, so you're having chips, which is a great treat. So it's fish and chips for your dinner, but you're not packing in the calories because using the Actifry. Didn't have any afternoon snack on that day. Then at night, case of, you know, Saturday night treat, which turned out to be an Hollands meat and potato pie and mashed potato. I said I put a bit of gravy on, but gravy's about 20 calories. Instant stuff. Then in the evening, of course, for shred. That came to 1,804 calories, which, you know, considering it included a bottle of wine, is quite good. Then Sunday, for breakfast, it was a bacon butty, so bacon on toast, 2 pieces of bacon and toast, followed by broccoli and Stilton cuppa soup. When towards the evening meal, we decided it was KFC night, so we had KFC gravy, 2 chicken, juicy chicken, gravy and regular fries. But you know, we've already been Subway this week and now we're at KFC. We're not depriving. And a bit more wine in the evening. So, you know, soup, bacon, butter, KFC in the afternoon, bit of wine in the evening. 1,826. If you think about it, every time that you treat yourself to something like KFC, chips, on those days it's going to go up and probably go above the limit. So that's 1826 when we're going for 1784. But it's only 40-50 calories over. So by putting the extra effort in, which I wasn't doing really on week 1, discover is that, you know, you can still get very close to the target. All the food that we had that week. Treats again, no salad I don't think. Made the effort with the bananas, but only one a day. I want to have too many bananas, watch the fruit and veg banana rebuttal if you like, or brand versus brand on bananas. Yeah, the odd one's fine. And there we go. So, the next thing was walking. So the previous week, week 1, I think, managed to successfully do 3 days walking, which was beyond 10,000 steps. 2 days where it was about 8,000 steps, and then a lazy weekend really where it was about 6,000 steps. I wanted to improve that. This week, Monday, I failed. I think it was literally 50 steps short, and I was gutted. But you know, I use the watch. You always say it on me, and that tells you if you succeeded or failed, and that just said failed. Could argue it's a bit harsh, but there you go. And Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday and Friday I managed to succeed the 10,000 steps, which is really, really good. And Saturday and Sunday, once again, you hit the weekend, you're pretty much tired and you've got your chores around the house and stuff like that, which resulted into those 2 days fail. But so we've got 4 days in, really 5 days for the sake of 50 steps. Days fail, which is better than the previous week where it was 3 days successful. Well, now we get back to the point what we've all been waiting for, which is, you know, it's Monday, it's the same time, it's the same clothes, it's time to have a wee. So, how did we do? Once again, you've got to remember is that the idea of the book is that you don't change your eating habits, you don't feel deprived. Use the 17 habits around your daily lifestyle, which then should allow you to lose weight in this situation. By losing weight, you're going to help with controlling diabetes. If you're using brand versus brand, you can look for the low sugar alternatives as well as the low calorie alternatives. Obviously, you can also get the saturated fat on brand versus brand and go for better product types, which is what we've been doing. But we've also been having treats at KFC and Subway. So most people at this point, oh, don't forget the chips. We had the chips from the pension place, and we also had chips with fish. We're absolutely not deprived whatsoever. Going back to the spreadsheet, and the scales that never lie. These don't, because they're digital. Comes in at £265, which from £269 is once again a £4 loss. And thinking about the £2 line, this is telling you what it should be. So for week 1 we should have been at £271, week 2 we should have been £269, which we was, but week 3 we should have been £267, actually £65. So looking at the line, see now is that we're building up this nicely. Scrolling over is that we're actually at well under £2 line, which anywhere under this line is brilliant. That's the end of week 2, so this is 0, week 1, start of week 1, week 0 into week 1, on week 2. We do this on Monday, so this is the start weight in effect for week 3, 2.7 kilograms. But it's this sort of it is only shown in kilograms, but equivalent weight in the poundage. And obviously we lost a little bit of weight. The BMI drops from 45.1 from about 45.4. What we're interested in is fat. Fat has gone from 40.4 kilograms 40.2, so obviously we burn some fat off. Muscle, we put on a little bit of muscle with all the extra walking and stuff. I did a couple of extra days, so the muscle's gone up. And like I was saying before, I was starting to have problems with diarrhea and stuff because you're having water, excessive water, and the water basically is risen from 47.2 to 47.3, which basically means that you're having a regular supply of water, but you're not drinking water throughout the day. Now, visceral fat is interesting because this is the fat which actually on the internal organs, and when that was 35, that's now dropped to 34.5. Bone mass will also drop because you lose weight. In effect, your body will regenerate the skeleton, and it'll also regenerate the size of the organs. So as it does the skeleton, it drops from 39.79 to 3.41. And of course, because you're carrying less weight, your body's relaxing a little bit more. It don't have to work as hard, so the metabolism comes down 21.52. Roll that into a graphical format, and what we see is that there's twice a drop in weight from week 1 to week 2. The BMI is equally dropped, the metabolism is dropped. Well, these first three basically look exactly the same, what we'd expect. The water consumption is increased, which is good because one of the habits is to take more water, so that's working. The muscles increased marginally. Looks a lot bigger on the graph, but once again, if we get more muscle, that's going to help with taking the fat off. The bone mass is reduced, getting smaller, fine. But interestingly, that the scales can pick up after a week how quickly the bone mass is reducing, which might go back to Dr. Shetty saying it writes the bloodstream, etc. But these are the two interesting ones. So the fat is dropped quite dramatically at that point, which is visual fat, and then internal fat dropped slightly more. Now, with using walking rather than every exercise, it's interesting how the body's responded by attacking the fat around the organs. Don't forget it's week 2, so I still would have been having the liver tonic, but I didn't have the stomach tonic whatsoever in this week. So this little graph really is trying to show proportion, week 1 to week 2, normal fat in blue versus visceral fat. And we can see the visceral fat there is dipped right down compared to the normal fat that was lost. So I would say, and this is kind of instead of the blood test, so I would actually say that is quite a interesting result. And with the skeleton or the bone mass reducing, the visual fat reducing quicker than the actual fat. So there we have it, and that's the end of week 2. I haven't felt deprived or anything. I probably need to maintain the walking at least. It should have been 7 times this week. Last week it should have been 7 times and managed 3, probably back issues and been extremely busy. This time I did 5, so I got better. But you know, I still exceeded the number of calories 3 times out of 7. But once again, having a 4-pound weight loss on the 2nd week, going to Subway, having treats, going to KFC, having chips, shows that the 17 habits really work really well. And the fact that the visceral fat is coming down a lot faster than the actual fat, you know, or at least, you might argue it's not, at least more visual fat coming off. You know, it's a great thing. I've not seen any plans which can do that. One thing what this is doing is encouraging you to improve your lifestyle. It's great. But still, there we go. So that was week 2. Next time we're going to have week 3, and week 3 does introduce what we call the treat day. We'll go into that. It's a little bit different, and we'll see how we do, how much we lose next time. So thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed the video, like and subscribe, and please put comments in the bottom where this can become other videos. If you bought the book or you're just watching this out of curiosity and you've got any questions, happy to answer them. I think, you know, oh, this is just a little bit too much. Making you lose weight by having so many standard foods, then let me know. And certainly those sort of comments are going to really encourage me to actually make more of these videos. Anyway, so that's week 2 done. Next week we're going into week 3. Hello there and welcome back. Yes, this is the very first video in the studio. is quite exciting. I have had some technical issues, I must admit, so the video's coming out rather late. And there's a few other things to think about, like, you know, apps like this. But you know, it's all. So without ado, this week we're going to have a look at my naughty week 3. So let's take a look. So week 3, which for me is always a little bit of a worry because it is birthday week. And birthday week we tend to indulge a little bit. I'm not really using this as a diet, so the option or the ability of indulging is quite tempting, you know, as we've seen in the other 2 weeks. But around these temptations and around being naughty, we are using the habits from the book and to see if that can control the weight. Weeks 1 and 2, we have been using the liver tonic in the evening. So on week 3, it's the first week that you don't have the liver tonic. And also on week 3, you are entitled to a treat day, you know, a relaxed day, eat what you want day and don't worry about the calories. Keep going up with the core habits, but, you know, count the calories. That's what we are learning to do. But, you know, if you don't want to do that, you don't need to do that. Keep with the habits, relax and chill. So what we have to do now is have a look at the spreadsheet to see where we was up to from week 2. So looking at the spreadsheet from last week, we was at £265, which was another decrease of £4, which is very, very good. Our target was 267, so we're actually under the target. But what we have to do, and the first thing that we have to do every week, is take the 265 number and put it into the spreadsheet, which was calories that we can eat. So going back to the MR spreadsheet, 269, we just simply have to change to 265. By doing that, it gives us a calorie count 1,761 calories, which is our daily target. And this daily target for this week applies for 6 days. Like I say, you have a treat day, which I'll probably take as Tuesday. I don't know why, I just fancy a random day, so we'll go for Tuesday. But it's 1,761 calories Monday, Wednesday through to Sunday. The maximum, minimum is obviously 1,200, and Tuesday we can eat as many as we want. So there we go. But the big question is, as always, what did I eat? As I said at the start of the video, my birthday is actually next week on the 15th of April. However, it's birthday week. What I mean by that is it's quite traditional to get the bacon buses in at work, and also we have other people that I work with who it's also their birthday. They've actually arranged to go out for a buffet on a Friday. Now, if anybody knows me, anybody would know I absolutely adore buffet. But I'll try and be good, and obviously we book in the plan, quite suppressed, and you don't crave as much food generally, just as a natural way of thing. So let's have a look to see what we had. So starting with Monday, and being naughty, I skipped breakfast, I also skipped morning snack. What I did have was vegetable curry with cauliflower rice, something that I made at home. And cauliflower rice is not a bad substitute for normal rice. It's less in calories, but it's quite a good choice. That was followed in the afternoon by flame grilled chips, which is just a big packet. Amazingly, one packet can be up to 250 calories, so you've got to be careful with these type of crisps. Almost double to say Walker's cheese and onion or something like that. But that was the afternoon snack. And then in the evening it was pot noodle, chicken and mushroom, and with bread. So once again, the plan says don't eat bread, you're being naughty. So in the evening, a couple of gin and tonics to relax with while watching TV. That actually came to 1,347 calories. So we're all on Tuesday, and once again we're being naughty. So we've got to skip the breakfast, we could have not bothered with the morning snack. Get to lunchtime and got a minestrone soup from the restaurant, which was really like lots of pasta, a lot of pasta in a tomato sauce, and followed by corned beef hash, which once again I've made at home, so following kind of in the kitchen methodology. And then I didn't have any snacks in the afternoon. That pasta, minestrone soup, oh the pasta. So In the evening I just had a fried egg sandwich, and I think he had toast, written down extra bread. So fried egg sandwich with toast and a couple of glasses of red wine, which came down to 1060 calories, which did exceed the target. But like I said at the start of this video, I've had extra bread today. I've had some red wine because it's Tuesday, it's a treat day, so I'm allowed to. But yes, so I went over the calorie counts, but that's fine. Wednesday, back to the breakfast. Probably feeling guilty because I know that you're meant to have breakfast on the PowerPlan and I've not done for 2 days. So, black pudding, scrambled eggs, tomatoes, kind of thing that you get, but I think it's healthier, and pork sausages. Very, very nice. Which then got me to dinner. I had leftover corned beef hash, which I had jacket spud, and a little bit of butter on there, not margarine, butter. Better for it. In the afternoon, once again, it's a feel guilty day, so I went for a banana as a snack. In the evening, I made up a chicken curry, and I wasn't really feeling that hungry, to be honest, so it was just curry with no rice, a bowl of chicken curry, and then finished off with a couple of gin and tonics. Then came to 1593 calories, all within the target. Thursday breakfast was really a repeat of Wednesday breakfast. Bacon, sausage, fried mushroom, scrambled egg. Like baked beans are more calorific, as good as the tomatoes. No morning snack. At lunchtime I had a chunky vegetable soup. That was followed by chicken curry with couscous. You always get a trend, probably people notice this, is that if you are actually at home cooking, you have a lot of leftovers. I do anyway, so suddenly it's like chicken curry one day, chicken curry and couscous the following day. Always a bit of a giveaway that you're home cooking. So there we go, so chicken curry with couscous. In the afternoon, using onion crisps. Again, better than flame grilled ones. Fries anyway. And then in the evening, it was naked noodle, chow mein flavour. Don't know why, I absolutely adore that. With bread. That was 1743 calories. So on Friday, for breakfast, fried bread, bacon it again, scrambled egg, and of tomatoes, sausage. No morning snack. I did have a tuna wrap with salad, chicken wing, and some sandwiches because this is Friday, and as I was saying before, it was another person's birthday at work, so he'd organised a buffet, and that's where I was having tuna wrap. I did have salad with it to try and fill up that way. Chicken wing, a couple of sandwiches. Avoided burgers, I avoided chips. To be honest with you, that little bit I had there was absolutely quite filling. Maybe it was just a subconscious thing, and when you're reading the book it kind of goes through, you know, what your weaknesses are, so maybe subconsciously a little bit more alert about this. But for me, that is really good for a buffet. You know, very little really. I think I might have had 2 tuna wraps, lots of salad, a couple of chicken wings. Very good. That good in fact is I didn't bother with tea because that buffet was quite late, it's about 3 o'clock. So in the evening just came home, Friday night, that's with, and that came to 1506 calories, men. It's the evening meal. Saturday, back to the nasty ways, no breakfast, no morning snack, just had chili con carne with spaghetti. I haven't made spaghetti from spaghetti, I actually made it from courgette, which is a good food substitute. It's far lower in calories, it's far better for you, obviously it's a vegetable. And that was followed in the afternoon by Space Raiders beef with bread. So yeah, being from Wigan, don't know anybody else does this, but 2 pieces of bread, butter it up, crisp in the middle. There's a quick snack. Not the healthiest of snacks, but I am being naughty. And then in the evening, bit of a takeout, so it was a chicken meal, weren't KFC, it was an alternative to KFC. I'd had some fries, chicken fillet, chicken leg, and quavers. All things probably got a little bit hungry waiting to go for the takeout. So quavers came out. And then Saturday night, a few gin and tonics. And that came to 1544. And then Sunday, the last day, For breakfast, a fried egg sandwich. Probably really enjoyed it the other day, so I just thought, right, another one. Oh, morning snack, and cheese and onion toasties, back to the bread again. And then late afternoon, it was sweet and sour popcorn, and a couple of pieces of toast, which means I was probably busy doing something. It was just snacking on popcorn and toast in the afternoon. Then Sunday evening, it was a chip sandwich. I think that, I felt pretty much stuffed probably from all the chicken the day before. So having a chip sandwich or a chip pancake, all made, apart from the bread. And then finished off with gin and tonic. Not too many, you got the flowing day. And that came to a wonderful total of 1,268 calories. So, this week with the food, apart from Tuesday, I went over, which I'm allowed to, but all the other days I was actually under, which is very good for me. So looking at the exercise, once again, target was to hit 10,000 steps. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday and Friday, I actually exceeded 10,000 steps. And probably contradicts being it a naughty week, but I was thinking naughty week food rather than exercise. And then Saturday and Sunday it's probably around 5,000-6,000 steps. They become a fail. So there we go, so that's what was eaten, and that was the exercise done for this week. So the next question is, what does the scale say? Could the scales lie? That enough to look a bit weight on, stay the same, or even lose a little bit more weight? Let's have a look. So, by going back to the spreadsheet, we can see last week was £265. After being on the scales, the current weight is now £263. So once again, after being naughty and going to buffets and eating the food that I really like, it would seem that I have lost a further £2. So not as good as the other 2 weeks, it was £4 and £4, but this week it is down to £2, which I think is pretty good. Well, you have gin and tonics, wine, buffets, takeaways again, and I'm pretty pleased with that. Well, looking at the £2 line, and we are still under the line, which is quite good. This is the target, to stay under this line if we can. And considering, I've had salad once, I've had fruit maybe once or twice, the rest of it's been uncooked or pretty much junky food, and I think that's quite a result. So, looking at the Smart Scales spreadsheet that we've been running, doing the weighting for week 3, in kilograms of course, it's 120.6 kilograms. I think that's right because I do not know kilograms. But looking at BMI, we've discovered that drops to 44.3. Looking at the fat, that drops to 39.7, so you are still burning external fat, which is brilliant. The muscle came down to 69.9, not too sure why, but that's fine. Water intake had increased now to 47.6, so you are encouraged to drink water when you're on the plan, and this is proof is that is actually working and your body's holding more water, and hopefully that'll get to an healthy level shortly. Visceral fat has dropped to 33.5. Now don't forget that's the fat around your organs, very important to reduce that. We see it's gone down again. Bone mass 2.75, so once again with the muscles and the bone mass, they've dropped quite a little bit, but not too worried. And then the metabolism dropped to 2130.3, which it will do. If you lose weight, you're going to lose a little bit of metabolism. You're lighter, so there's no effort moving around and doing things. So now looking at the graphs, and weight, BMI, metabolism are all more or less identical. If you lose more weight, they'll come down. Looking at the water, as we've already said, the water increases, and it's increased quite significantly there, and quite in proportion for the other 2 weeks. That's pleasing. The muscle obviously has dipped this week. Once again, I'm not 100% sure why, so I'm sure that will regain back shortly. Maybe at the weekend it was an extremely lazy weekend or something, and stay away on a Monday, maybe they want a chance to kick back in. But bone mass is steadily going down almost to the same level as the weight itself. That's looking quite healthy. And we have fat, which is reduced, which is external fat to your visceral fat. But once again, if we look at visceral fat versus fat, we can see is that the visceral fat looks like it's coming off quicker. Which, you know, for the mark of any plant or diet, if you can reduce the visceral fat and the fat, that is an absolute win-win. So looking at this once again, everything seems to be going back into the right direction. It's excellent news, and it basically shows that the plan works, even if you don't follow it to the letter as such. So there we go, so we have it. So £2 off, the fat coming off, brilliant. The metabolism being reduced, that's fine. If you're losing weight, metabolism. Everything's looking good apart from the bone mass, which is fair enough, yeah. So everything's looking good apart from the bone mass. Not too sure why. I lost a little bit this week. And the muscle mass. But we'll see what happens next week. And welcome back. And this is week 4. Now week 4 for me ran from the 15th of April to the 21st of April. And what I've done this video, because it still seems to be microphone problems for whatever reason, I've actually taken all the filters off OBS now. So hopefully this is going to sound a little bit better. But after saying that, looking at the screen, it looks like that the picture's flickering a little bit. You can't win with YouTube, but there you go. So worries for this week was simply it's birthday week. You get lots of presents from family, friends and even work. His 50th is a big 50. And really I'm trying to be naughty on this plan. I'm trying to make it so that you can actually put weight on. And it's failing dramatically. You know, no matter what I seem to do, it just seems that it wants to kick in and it just wants to help things along, which is pretty good. Up to now, you know, it's been quite pleasing results. I won't say I've been on a diet, I've just been using the habits of the book, and the results are quite pleasing. So what we have to do as normal is go back to the spreadsheet and see what the current weight is. So once again, if we have a look at the £2 line spreadsheet, our current weight is £263, which was a £2 loss last week, which once again is quite incredible what I've been eating. So what I need to do now is put that 263 into the BMI spreadsheet. So we've got 265, we just need to set that now to 263. And that gives us a calorie count of 1,749. But wait, many people I speak to will say, as you get older, you need less calories. My view of it is that when you get older, your body needs to work harder to maintain itself, to keep it healthy. So you probably actually need more calories. But either way, looking at the spreadsheet, it's still set to age 49. Well, at the start of this week I turned 50, so that needs changing to 50. And that changes the calories from 1,749 to 1,756. It's not that many calories more, but if your body needs it, your body needs it. So this is the target that we have to work with. So once again, and it's always the question that I'm always asked, what do you eat? So this is what I actually ate in week 4. So what I want to do while I'm in my scruffs and nice and relaxed is go straight into week 4. And on Monday I had black pudding, fried mushrooms, tomatoes from a can, normally from a can because they are the healthier ones, followed by sausage. Yes, sausage. Many people saying, how do you lose weight eating sausage? Well, there we go, more sausage. And then I didn't bother with a morning snack, mainly course full. So then I had a gammon steak with mashed potatoes, which was from the restaurant, and they also put on a little bit of cauliflower, so that was nice. You know, you're one a day, so that's quite good. Didn't have an afternoon snack because once again quite full, but then for the evening meal end up at Subway where I had a turkey and ham salad, and apparently the turkey and ham with salad was actually used as part of the Subway diet, so I thought I'd give that a try, and it was actually quite nice. And then have a couple of drinks, so I had a gin and tonic and then a nice glass of Prosecco. Now, Prosecco seemed to be far more calorific than the gin and tonic, but with what I'd eaten that day, I actually managed to keep the calorie count down. So that was 1,379 calories, which is in the limit. So once again, Tuesday, and up to now I've kept Tuesday as my treat day, and this Tuesday is no exception. It was my treat day once again. So what I had in the morning was a sausage and bacon pound cake, which was very, very nice. It's what I got at work to celebrate the birthday, and you know, it's pretty good. That was followed by dinner, so no morning snack, followed by dinner with mushroom soup once again from the restaurant. And they had in effect a chicken dinner, so it's chicken breast with mashed potatoes and gravy, some veg in there, very, very nice. In the afternoon I had a Knorr vegetable soup out the machines, about 50 calories, so it's quite good to keep you going, far less calorific than say a packet of crisps. And in the evening I went for a Slimwell smoky barbecue chicken. Now Slimwell is a dieting type meal, but it's being produced by Aldi, and they are actually quite good for the price and how much you get. You seem to get quite a lot in each of these meals, and it's probably something that I'll probably review moving forward. Certainly stuff that I'll be putting on brand versus brand. If you actually look at brand versus brand in detail, you discover that I don't really put Aldi in this one, and that's because they don't really put the calorie information on the websites. But when I do get a product from there, even though it's not too often in fairness, is that I do actually put the calorie details into the brand versus brand section of the website, obviously depending on which products I've actually purchased. And I also had some bread with the Slimwell diet meal, which was quite good. So moving on to the evening, it was Prosecco, still got some more Prosecco, and a bit of gin and tonic, which made me sleep, which was quite nice, and a slice of chocolate cake. I must admit, looking at these videos and stuff, I'm not a massive sweet fan. Savoury stuff I absolutely adore, but when it comes to sweet stuff, I'm not a massive fan. So for me to actually have a slice of cake, it's got to be around my birthday time. But once again, it does show is that, you know, you can eat just about what you want. And that day came to 1,931 calories, which was over, but that doesn't matter because it was my treat day. So on to Wednesday, and Wednesday morning I was quite rushed, didn't have time for breakfast, so it was back to that machine and go and get another vegetable Knorr soup, another 54 calories. It's not a lot, it's not the best to eat, but it's kind of gets the metabolism going, so it's not a bad thing. Maybe bad things, but not as bad as nothing. So there we go. So that was a late breakfast. Went into dinner and I had tomato soup with a bun. You know, we're bringing in more and more bread at this point. Followed by chicken curry and cauliflower rice. Now once again, I think is that the chicken curry and cauliflower rice was all made. Was quite nice. But once again in the afternoon it was cheese and onion crisps. Probably because the cauliflower rice isn't as filling as normal rice, so you tend to snack. Then in the evening, finished off with a bacon, lettuce and tomato all-meal wrap. Now a lot of people say, wait, bacon wrap, but if you think about it, it's not that calorific because the bacon is between 26 and 50 calories per slice, depending where you get it from. And lettuce and tomatoes is just about 0. And if you're going for an all-meal wrap, once again you're probably looking at about 200 calories. So for me that's a great meal, but it's low in calories, which is you know, pretty good. And that night I think I was up quite late, so I ended up having a naked noodle Malaysian Alaska curry, something new to try. It's quite nice. I do like the naked noodle products far better than the pot noodle products, but probably shouldn't say that. And I had some toast and a bit of gin before bed, so that came to 1,648. What's significant about these last 2 days is I've started eating more in the night, which means I'm eating more in the danger zone, as I say in my book, which does break another one of the habits. So you'd be interested by eating later, will I actually irritate the weight loss. But 1648 calories for Wednesday. So on to Thursday, and it's back to the restaurant, and it's back for the fried bread again, scrambled egg, can of tomatoes and sausage, quite a filling breakfast, and that meant I didn't need a morning snack. For dinner, lamb curry with half chips, half rice. Normally I'd probably just stick with the rice or even go for the cauliflower rice, but interestingly enough, having the lamb curry with half chips, half rice meant that I didn't have an afternoon snack, where the day before I kind of had a curry with cauliflower rice and I ended up having a snack. So that kind of shows, or a good indication, is that the cauliflower rice isn't as satisfying as normal rice. And then the evening meal was naked noodle back to chow mein with flavour with bread. So once again more bread, and in the evening a couple of gin and tonics. But to tempt fate and eat in the danger zone, I also had a hot cross bun. And by doing so, that racked up the calories to 1935, which is a fail. It's well over the 1756. So doing that, I would expect to gain weight this week. Friday it's birthday week, and you know, kind of, it's great having a birthday on the weekend, because your week before is your birthday week, followed by another birthday week, which is really, really good. So breakfast, bacon, scrambled egg and wrap that goes off this day. So that was something made, you know, the wrap's left over, what can I have with it? Make scrambled egg, put it into a wrap with bacon, not as nice as the BOT, the bacon, lettuce and tomatoes, but it used the wrap up. It was fine, but it's also using bread again, and like I say in the book, try to avoid bread. Then for dinner it was a sausage sandwich, bread again, no morning snack, no afternoon snack, and then in the evening let's really tempt fate by going for a chip supper. So as a chip supper with steak pudding, chips, peas and gravy, which was nice chipper. I mean, you know, can't go wrong with a chipper. And then because it's my first evening where it's my birthday really, and I've not really chilled out in the last week or so, I decided to have a good drinking session. So I had some red wine and gin and tonic, quite a bit. But of course we're in the danger zone now, and I thought, right, let's have some bread and let's have a cheese and onion pie, let's really tempt this. And considering that the target's 1756 calories, that came to a whopping 2714, well over the target. This week now is really trying to tempt fate. So while we're tempting fate on this week, Saturday, fried egg and bacon sandwich. Great, love it. No morning snack because that's quite filling. And then I put just sausages. I think I was doing some sort of experiment for an upcoming video. So it was a case of just eat sausages for dinner. Obviously messing, and unfortunately weeks 1 and week 2 was actually recorded when I was actually doing the weeks. We're moving to the studio where we are now. These are back recorded, so it's kind of no idea. But it was just sausage. So probably about 4 or 5 sausages for whatever weird reason on that day. Afternoon snack, I put a can of Coke. Obviously in the book we said tea, coffee, standard drinks, not cappuccinos and stuff, don't really count to the plan. Chicken stir fry in the evening, so can of Coke in the afternoon, chicken stir fry in the evening. And then we had chocolate coated cake with gin and tonic, which was very nice, as I remember. I think it's triggered off a little bit of toothache, and that's, I'm not really into a sweet type products, I'm not into the sweetness of them, but chocolate coated cake and gin and tonic. So nice, and that came to 1859. Interestingly enough, the can of Coke was quite calorific too, but once again over the 1756 target. Then on Sunday, pot noodle, chicken and mushroom again with bread. That was your morning or a mid-morning meal. In the afternoonish it was chicken and sweet corn pizza. I think this was actually all made. Very, very nice, and a video will be coming up on that, is how to eat pizza more hopefully. And after the week of absolutely stuffing myself, it was a can of tomato soup with bread, and then in the evening it was gin and tonic plus ice cream plus chocolate cake, coming up to 1925 calories. Surely I've got to have put weight on this week, but this week there was no stomach tonic, which breaks the plan. Also we're using majority of the habits, and by using these habits we're just seeing how it goes. So for the exercise it was still 10,000 steps. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday I achieved that, but Friday, Saturday and Sunday I failed miserably, as I remember. So, but there we go. So we've gone over the calorie limit on a good couple of days there, and we failed to do the exercise side for 3 days there. I've been stuffing myself so that I've been tempting fate by eating at night, as in like 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night, and which is a complete no-no when using the plan. What's happened this week? Let's find out. It's time to see what the scales say. Last week I was 263 pounds, and even I would expect to put weight on this week, mainly because you're eating cake, you've had prosecco, you're still drinking gin and tonic. Not as much junk food, but definitely exceeding the calories, and only being active really half the week rather than the full week. But the scales tell me that I am now an amazing 262 pounds. Even on this week I have managed to lose a pound. No idea how, but looking at spreadsheet with 262 pounds and the target's 263 pounds, which means we are still under the £2 line. And if I click on the £2 line tab, there it is. It just shows us that the blue line's still under the red line. We're still doing well as we go into week 5. It's amazing, really. Even, you know, it's like I even astonish myself with these weeks that we do, and you know, that's absolutely amazing. But the big question is, what happened on the smart scales, and especially with muscle and bone from last week, which seemed to deteriorate or get less, which was quite surprising. So if we go to the smart scales tab, and once again we'll put these values in. So 119.8 kilograms in weight, 44 BMI, so already it's come from 45.4 on week 1 right the way down to 44. Fat is reduced slightly to 39.6. Muscle, which was the bit I was getting a bit worried about last week, has now gone back to 70, so that's fine. Water, 47.7. So once again the plan does encourage you to take water, and once again the water retention in the body has increased. Still low, still not normal, but it has increased. So now looking at visual fat, that's down to 33, and bone mass is 2.42, so that's still reducing. But one thing what you have to think about is that as you're losing weight, your body has to regenerate. It has to regenerate all the organs, the skeleton, absolutely everything to compensate. One of the reasons why if you lose £2 a week, it's far better than crash dieting, because it gives the body enough time to compensate. But 2.42 on bone mass in effect indicates that this is working. And then metabolism must have gone down a little bit, because basically you have lost weight, and if you've lost weight then you don't need as much energy to walk around and do the things that you need to do on a daily basis. So the last thing to do is look at the smart scales graphs. The weight's coming down at quite a nice little pace there. Therefore the BMI and the metabolism will come down all at the same rates more or less when you look at it graphically. The water's still increasing, which is wonderful. The muscle's gone back up to 70, so quite pleased about that, even though weirdly I weren't as active this week as well as last week. But you know, the scales are always right. So looking at bone mass, that's coming down as, you know, the fat and the weight's coming off. So that's interesting because the you know, the charts look similar once again. Looking at fat, once again we can see that the fat is actually being targeted and we're losing that quite nicely, and the visceral fat too. And once again, as if you look at the fat and visceral fat chart, that gap between them two seems to be getting bigger and bigger to me, which means that you're burning off more visceral fat or internal fat than the fat that you have carrying on your body that people can see on the outside. Visceral fat is the fat which is around your organs, etc. So that coming off is brilliant and is going to make you far healthier. And once again, going back to the book where Dr. Sissy said, I don't know what you've done, but you kind of rewritten your own bloodstream. That kind of indicates to me is that the visceral fat's coming off faster than normal fat, which I think is quite rare. Then that's probably a good indication of how the body responds to the plan in a positive way. So there we go, so that's it for the charts today. So, once again, even surprised myself this week. I would have thought that I would have put on weight and I actually lost a pound. I even surprised myself. How it's done, like I said, the book's available on Amazon, go and have a look. We'll be covering this in more detail over the next couple of years really, with the rate that I get to do videos. The studio's doing quite well, you know, we're moving on. I think that there's still shiny bits on my head, and the lighting that I'm using at this moment is not brilliant, it's kind of reflective in my glasses. Hopefully the microphone's a little bit better this time. It seems to be doing okay, but there's no filters on, so I'll put the filters on later. Hopefully it won't cut out as it has been doing on previous videos. So once again, thank you very much for watching. I hope that you found it interesting. This is once again eating takeaways, all the stuff that you shouldn't do, really being naughty, or I should easily be putting weight on by using some of the habits now, not starting off with all the habits and even cutting the habits down slowly. So by using some of the habits, it shows that regardless of the lifestyle, eating the chips, overindulging on alcohol and even overindulging on food, is it still possible to lose weight by the use of these 17 habits. Or even just some of the habits is still maintaining it. Week 1, the naughty week 1 and 2, you was losing a lot more weight, I was being a lot more committed to the habits at that point. Weeks 3 and 4 is really, I'm going to get away with it, we'll just push it a little bit further. And by doing that, it's kind of the plan's your best friend and it's fighting back. And it's saying, no, actually, even when you make a gan at yourself, you're even still going to lose a pound as we have done on this week. Fascinating. Well, hello there and welcome back. And this is now week 5, the penultimate week. We said in week 1 was going to do this for 6 weeks, so week 5 is next to last. Thankfully, birthdays have gone, and Easter's gone, which is cool, and it's just going back to a normal week. But this time, can we actually put weight on? And the only way I can think of it is by continually eating like I have been doing, but simply drop all the habits. So just forget about every single habit in the book and let's just behave like I'd normally do throughout my lifestyle, which has always created a weight problem. As always, let's have a look at the spreadsheet to see where I was up to at the end of week 4 going into week 5. And what we can see is that we was at £262 after losing £1 in weight, which, you know, pretty good. Keep saying that. So what we have to do is put the £262 into our BMI calculator, which is going to give us the number of calories that we need to eat this week. So once again, the only thing what we need to do is replace the 263 with 262, and that tells us that the number of calories this week is 1,750, which is a little bit less than last week. As you lose weight, these calories will go down until you hit your ideal weight, and then obviously you just say that you don't want to lose weight anymore, and you're rewarded far more calories to eat within a day if you choose to. But for now, it's 1,750 calories for this week. So this week there is no excuse for birthdays, there's no excuse for Easter, We're still not having the liver tonic. I'm not having the stomach tonic. I am going to eat a little bit more sensibly, but what I'm not going to do is use any of the habits in the book. This week is just purely, it's like a normal time for me, and that's the way it's going to do. So pasta, carbs, anything I want to eat, no habits from the book, no liver tonic and no stomach tonic. And we started on Monday with a fried egg sandwich. Had no snack, but at lunchtime we had pasta with a sauce. Now, quite often as I'll do this, because I don't like pasta and sauce, it's probably left over from the night before. It weren't a great deal, but it's better than throwing food away. As well have the leftovers if we can. And then in lunchtime, so there's no snack in the afternoon, and then during the evening meal I had meatballs and gravy with bread, and probably because I not had a great deal during the day, later on I went for a cheese on toast. And then of course finished the evening off with a gin and tonic, probably 2, possibly 3, and that came to 1,724 calories. So Tuesday I weren't having as a treat day, and the book it's recommended that you move the treat days around. So this week Tuesday's not a treat day, it's a normal day. And for breakfast I had Weetabix with milk. No morning snack. If you have Weetabix, and I think you had 3, they do fill you up, so there's no need for a morning snack. Lunchtime was chicken curry, and because the cauliflower rice last week didn't really fill me up, I had it this time with couscous. That did seem to fill me up, so in the afternoon I didn't have a snack. But in the evening we had gammon joint, which is lovely, with mashed potatoes, sprouts and gravy. Now that's probably quite heavy for an evening meal, especially during the week, and probably better off having something like that at lunchtime. However, gammon joint, mashed potatoes, sprouts and gravy, it's very, very nice. And there were sprouts in there, so obviously bringing back more vegetables than we have been on previous week. And finished it off with a couple of gin and tonics, giving me a total of 1,681 calories. Wednesday, I had bacon sandwich and toast. So obviously just made myself a bacon sandwich. Probably late morning, had a piece of toast with it, just to fill me up. I haven't classed it as a morning snack, but probably realistically that's what happened. Then at lunchtime, back to Subway, and had a Subway 6-inch BMT. Can't remember what BMT is, but there you go. Bacon marinated something or other. I don't know. I put down Subway 6-inch BMT. Then no afternoon snack, and amazingly no tea. But that night, once again it must have been a away from work night, so I had some Guinness, some gin and tonics, and roast chicken crisps. So obviously in the afternoon, the bacon sandwich, then the toast, then the Subways filled me up, and then just finished with those. And that came to 1,515 calories. So coming into Thursday, and it was fried egg and bacon sandwich. So it's kind of mixing up the last couple of meals that I've had for breakfast. No morning snack, but then at lunchtime it was roast chicken crisps. So obviously at this point this tells me is I've got a party pack of crisps. So I'm just trying to use these up. And I had liver, onions and gravy, which once again liver's awful. Not a lot of people like it. However, if you can stomach it, it is a very good meat to have. It helps with the self-repair of the body. It's very low in calories. So it'd be lamb's liver, onions and gravy. It's nice, I like liver. Then the mid-afternoon, once again I didn't have any potatoes or anything with it. So mid-afternoon it was roast chicken crisps. And then the evening a chicken stir fry, which once again is mainly veg, a little bit of chicken in there, quite good. And then in the evening a couple of chocolate biscuits. So once again it's that I'm not really a sweet person, but having the cake the week before, suddenly you think, oh well I might have some biscuits. Your body will start to crave. And then a gin and tonic, or a couple of those at night, which then came to 1,773. So Friday, and I nominated Friday as my treat day. It's Friday, and there's a lot of leftover snacks from Easter, so it's a good time to actually get rid. and also I need a treat day. If you leave it too late when it's a Saturday or Sunday, then you'll probably find it's like you'll miss it, which is not doing what the plan tells you to do. So also at this point, one thing was missing, well, I wasn't missing, was bread. I just wanted to be a little bit more fair to the plan, so while shopping I actually discovered Weight Watcher bread, which was a little bit smaller, therefore lower in calories, and hopefully that will help with this week. However, it is still bread and it's still recommended that you avoid it, even though I've been eating it like crazy over the past couple of weeks. But however, I do say try to avoid bread if you can. For Friday for breakfast, I had a chicken soup with Weight Watchers bread. No morning snack. Weight Watcher bread is actually quite filling, and unless you compare it to a normal loaf, a bit like the Smart Price bread going back many years, is that it is smaller, but it's not particularly noticeable smaller. So if you just had a couple of slices of bread as you would do normally, then you wouldn't realise. And in my situation, I had the chicken soup with the bread, and I was actually filled where I didn't need a morning snack. But lunchtime came along and it was potato waffles for a change with spaghetti bolognese. So something I've not had for a long time. More of a treaty type thing after a little treat day. So why not? Then in the afternoon snack it was roast chicken crisps, still trying to get rid of the family pack. And Weight Watcher bread. You know what this means. It's a crisp sandwich or a crisp butty, we'll say over here. You know, it's just tradition. I'll put it down to tradition. So, and then in the evening it was a tin of tomatoes with beef sausage. So it's kind of going along a healthier type breakfast. I didn't have any bread at this point. I actually felt okay. But in the evening, and I wanted to make an effort to try and break the plan. So it's Friday night, so it was a full bottle of red wine, then chocolate cake with ice cream, and then a few gin and tonics. So, you know, the idea is to bust the limit quite badly, which I succeeded at 2023 calories. So going back to Saturday, which is a standard day, but breaking the plan, I didn't have any breakfast, I didn't have any morning snack, probably still full from the chocolate cake. But at lunchtime, I'd made a sausage casserole, which I had with Weight Watchers bread. That meant that I didn't need an afternoon snack, and in the evening, I had another childhood treat for me, which is meat and potato pie, coated in oxtail soup rather than gravy. It sounds horrible, and a lot of people don't like oxtail soup, probably because it's made from oxtails. But, you know, if you try it, I found it's really nice and something different. Can't quite find the oxtail soup that I want. I've tried various brands and it's not quite there. And you can actually get oxtails from the butchers, which I've been known to do. However, the problem with that is it's really expensive, since you've got Jamie Oliver and various other chefs actually making oxtails. Suddenly what was really a cheap meat suddenly becomes really expensive. So it's quite a shame. And that evening I had a bit more red wine and a few more gin and tonics, but that came to 1,337 calories. Going on to Sunday and the very final day, and for breakfast I had broccoli soup with more Weight Watchers bread, no morning snack, but then spaghetti bolognese with Weight Watchers bread, but similar to the other day, a spaghetti bolognese with potato waffles. So I must have enjoyed it and decided to do a variation of it. And then in the afternoon there was no snack, and then in the evening I just had a tuna sandwich. Then in the late evening, and this time let's have something finally in the danger zone. So I had a fried egg sandwich with a few oven chips, a couple of cans of Guinness, so it's more calorific, and red wine, which is even more calorific. And that came to 2,458, which once again is a fail. So a number of fails this week, one allowed, but you know, we weren't well under the calorie limit, we weren't doing any of the habits. However, now it comes down to exercise. Monday, yes. Tuesday, yes. And don't forget the exercise, you're just simply doing the 10,000 steps in a day. Wednesday, no. Thursday, yes. But Friday, Saturday and Sunday, Simply no. And that was it, and that was that week. It wasn't as intense as the week before. It is doing it without the habits, it is doing it with bread, it is eating in the danger zone. So the big question is, this week, did I actually put weight on? Well, the only thing what we can do is check the scales, because as we know, the scales never lie. So once again, we go back to our spreadsheet. We've been on the scales, and the scales tell me that the new weight is £264. Yes, I have actually put on £2 by not using any other bits of the book. You could argue that reached the target of the steps. You could argue some of the days I actually ate towards the calories that I was meant to. However, I would argue that I wasn't doing really any of the habits of the book, and I certainly wasn't being conscious of what I was eating. I was just eating what I fancied. So a £2 gain, I would say, is still quite reasonable. It feels, I'd have expected about £4 this week. So I'm quite pleased with that for what it is. However, if we look at the £2 line, what we can see is that because we get reduced as a target by £2 this week, but we've actually put £2 on, there's a deficit of £4. We are actually just above the £2 line. But still pretty close to it. If you have these weeks and you have a bad week, especially if you bought the book and you have a bad week, don't give up. This is just, like I've done, I've just kind of not done things properly. Or I've not, just reread the book and don't worry about it and move on. Looking at smart scales, which has gone up. Obviously the BMI is going to go up and the fat stays the same. Now don't forget, this is actually external fat, and a lot of the time is that you would expect to put on external fat or visual fat that people can see. But obviously what's happening with the plank, I've been using the habits previously, it's still working and it's preventing the external fat to be coming on. Muscle, it's only £2 gain, so the muscle stayed the same. The water, once again, I haven't been drinking as much water because that is one part of the habits. So the water intake's reduced by 0.1 and visual fat is increased by 0.5. Now once again, you haven't got any external fat on, but what it's doing, it's starting to build up the fat back onto the internal organs, which then will encourage the external fat to increase. So it doesn't surprise me is that the visual fat gets it first. However, the outer fat hasn't, so it's going to be easier to actually attack the visual fat as the plan's been doing, and it's far harder to do the external fat. But once again, if you bought the book and you put on a couple of pounds, just think about this: the fat is now going back round your liver, kidneys, things like that, rather than your stomach, your legs, your bum. So is it not worth just have another quick read, even if you only go through the 17 habits, get back on track, and let's reduce this visual fat even more. Bone mass, well, we've increased our weight by £2, you'd expect bone mass to go up, which it does, and obviously the metabolism goes up to 2122. So, it's just as expected. The surprising bit is that you think it'll all go to your stomach or it all goes to your bum, as we're told on dieting plans and things like that. And looking at that, what we've discovered is that the bone mass increases, the metabolism increases because there's more bone mass, visual fat increases, which is the fat around your organs. But what does that look like on the graphs? And once again, the weight increases in proportion to the BMI, in proportion to the metabolism. So obviously those three are working together. The bigger you are, the bigger your metabolism, the lower you are in weight, the metabolism slows down, which is one of the reasons why you've got to keep up with the habits, especially drinking water, especially keeping to the calorie counting and keeping to the exercise. Instantly, within 7 days of not doing the habits, the water is reduced down, the muscle stayed the same, still as active to a point, the bone mass has increased, and the fat has stayed the same, which is your outer fat, but the visual fat's increased. And looking at the graph, visual fat to normal fat, you can see on the orange line is that that's gone up as the blue line stayed flat. So it is well worth going back to those habits, in which just to keep the visual fat under control and make our bodies healthier, even though on the outside you can actually still be quite a big person, still a person which is quite overweight, but internally your body's mending quicker, and with lower visual fat this plan's going to work even better than what it's showing right now. So there we have week 5, and finally put on the 2 pounds. I thought I'd put on more, so I'm quite pleased with that. It's interesting looking at the smart scales. That's coming up with some interesting information, and interesting that the fat doesn't, the external fat doesn't really impact with a couple of pound increase. Now if you get people that are anorexic and have bulimia, and they say, well, if you eat that truffle then you're going to put a pound on and it's going to go straight to your bum. Weight Watchers is kitchen pickers wear bigger knickers. Well, probably not. It probably just goes to visual fat, which is internal fat, and it's just a way of making you feel guilty, so you just keep going with those type of plans, which, you know, if you're on a diet you've got to think, can I live this lifestyle forever? And if the answer is no, then it's only a short-term solution. Anyway, next week is week 6. It's the final week of being naughty. Oh, the last week. What shall I do on the last week? I think this last week we need to reintroduce some of the habits, try and be a little bit more, you know, fairer. Let's bring back breakfast in, and let's hit the calories, let's hit the exercise targets, and let's see what happens. So, the final week of using the plan. Now, like I said, the plan isn't a diet, it's a change of lifestyle. If you've been watching these videos, you know I haven't been hungry at all. In fact, I've been having all the foods that you probably should never ever have if you ever want to lose weight, and the result of that is that the weight loss has been very, very good. However, last week we decided to stop the habits completely, not be as active, and eat what I want, and I end up putting 2 pounds on, which is fine. So this week we want to be a little bit better, bring some of the habits back, just to prove that if you actually have a bit of a drawback by using the plan, is that it's going to kick back in, or is it a case of you just, that's it, you've blown it and you're going to continue either the same or we even put more weight on. Who knows? I'm actually recording this at night, so we can have the appearance of the actual gin. So really nice. You only have a little bit of gin, top it up with water. If you look at brand versus brand and you look at tonic water, I put the icon up now. Make sure you buy the right one if you want to lose weight, and there is actually a tonic water if you want to gain weight. Crazy stuff. Have a look at brand versus brand, drink some tonic water. However, let's get on with this week. It's the final week. Treat day, I intended to have one, and there's still no liver tonic, there's still no stomach tonic, so those habits I've not taken up. I haven't taken up various other ones. It's just basically breakfast, water, exercise, calories, meeting, not really substituting any food. So let's go on with it and let's see where we're up to. And as always, we need to have a look at the spreadsheet from last week, and the spreadsheet is basically saying we increased our weight by 2 pounds. It took a lot of hard work to do that, but what we have to do is get the new calorie count, so we have to put that now into the BMI spreadsheet. So if we go back to the BMI spreadsheet, we'll see it's still set to 262 from last week, so what we have to do is put in 264, put 2 pounds on, and we see by doing that is that gives us a new calorie target of 1,762 calories, which is 12 calories more than what we had last week. So you get, because you put weight on, you get to eat that little bit more, just so the body can counterbalance itself. And don't forget, this is your maximum target, so you're aiming to eat up to that amount. And just as a final recap, if you're male, then your minimum calories is 1,200, so that gives me a range of 1,200 to 1,762. However, if you're female, it gives you a range from 1,000 to 1,762 calories, so that's what we're aiming for. And with that in mind, it's time for the final time to have a look at Naughty Week 6, our final week. Now, once again, I've said it, this is the idea is that you're a customer, you bought the book, and you're kind of doing it badly. I think if I is in this situation, I'll be in a position where I say, well, I've done the habits, I've lost weight, kind of got a little bit fed up with it, and I've not done any habits, and I've put 2 pounds on. So why not, the habits are not difficult, so it's not a diet. So by just doing little changes in your life every day, why not just restart? And that's basically what we're looking at now. So what we're going to do, as always, is see what was eaten in the final week. So what did I eat this week? Well, I didn't want to skip breakfast because that's part of the habits. So I started with Weetabix with milk, and your one a day added strawberries. That's very filling, so no morning snack. Dinner time, it was mashed potatoes rather than chips, cauliflower sausage, and onion gravy. So look a bit of a basically mash sausage gravy, but add the cauliflower, which then meant I didn't need an afternoon snack. And then for evening meal, it was tomatoes, scrambled egg and toast, kind of like an healthy breakfast. I did have a cheese and onion crisp, and I had a vegetable cup of soup going towards the night, just to make sure that I weren't eating mega late. And that was finished by gin and tonic, which came to 1,709 calories. So Tuesday I was rushed as normal, so I started with a mushroom soup. Didn't have a morning snack, but I had chili con carne and rice for lunch, which is good, it stays away from the chips, because there's Knorr Veg. But in the afternoon I had a vegetable cup soup at the machine, which is always handy if you get a little bit hungry in the afternoon, at 52 calories. And then in the evening it was a chicken jalfrezi curry with bread, so once again ditching the rice, the carbs and the chips, and just have a curry with bread and just use the bread to fill you up a little bit. And finish off with a gin and tonic, and that came to 1,558. At this point it was normal bread, it's just a slice rather than 2 slices. I don't want to feel deprived when I'm doing this plan. Equally, I don't want to stuff myself so like I've been doing on the previous weeks. So it's a great way. If I didn't do that, it'd get to 11 o'clock, I want toast, I want something to do with bread. So I'll get it out the way, just have a piece with the curry. Going into Wednesday, breakfast was black pudding, and I had lemon mint crisps for the morning snack, which was, I just came across them, I just wanted to try them, I was just more curious than anything else. And then into dinner time, lentil soups, once again bringing the lentils in the soup, makes it healthier. And then I just simply had a meat pie with mixed vegetables. So get rid of the chips, anything like that, just use the vegetables to fill as a filler to the meat pie, just to make sure that you feel reasonable. Late afternoon it was lemon mint crisps again, and bread, which is the crisp butter, but this time instead of having 2 pieces of bread on top of each other, it's just fold it in 1 piece, and you're cutting off 100 calories easily there. And then a beef sausage casserole, which I made before, which I had at night. And then in the evening I just had gin and tonic, Guinness and banana, so we wanted to still incorporate quite a bit of alcohol in there, just to prove us that that is kind of going to put you over the limit, but not with food, with liquid. And unfortunately that did come to 1,848 calories, but once again it's about 80 calories over, so not a disaster like we've had on previous days, but there we go, it was over. Thursday was the treat day, so I've had 2 Tuesdays, a Friday, now we're going Thursday for treat day. You have to vary it up so it tricks the body, it's not expecting you to stuff your face on different days, it's expecting a kind of a routine week in, week out. So by tricking it, it's going to make it so that it isn't going to store as much as what it would do normally. So started off with something completely different, and I had porridge. Now I know everybody says that porridge is good for cholesterol, I found it doesn't really fill you up. So in the morning I also had a snack of a vegetable cup soup. For lunchtime it was stewed steak and broccoli. I've had stewed steak with chips and things, so I've had stewed steak and just had broccoli with it. Once again, substitutes vegetables rather than carbs in the spuds or chips. But it don't fill you up as much, so mid-afternoon snack was a packet of mini cheddars and another vegetable soup, cup soup. In the evening, Subway 6-inch steak and cheese and lamb and mint crisps. So at this point I'm kind of being a little bit more substitutional, not having chips and carbs as much, but also still putting in the naughty points of, oh, there's a Subway, I just fancy steak and cheese, oh, go on, let's go for it. Never mind, I'll be okay, it won't let me down. The plan won't let me down. And then finished that evening with gin and tonic, and it was a treat day anyway, so having a Subway is not a great deal. Having the gin and tonic's not a great deal. And that came to 1,857, which was over, but on Thursday I'm allowed because it's the treat day. And looking at that, it's about 80 calories over again. So unlike previous weeks where I've gone absolutely ballistic and it's over 2,000 calories, it's only been about 80 calories. So Friday, which is the day I normally drag, it's when it's the weekend, and I normally go calorific, so knowing that, try and make the extra effort not to. So Friday for breakfast, banana, simple as that. No morning snack. I was a little bit hungry, but I didn't really want to have a morning snack. I'd had quite a bit the day before. And then at lunchtime it was boiled egg, lettuce, cucumber and tomato. In the afternoon a packet of cheese and onion crisp. And then in the evening a BLT sandwich. So once again 2 pieces of bread this time with lettuce, tomato and some bacon on there. Now there is a video coming up in the defence of bacon. It's not as bad as what most people think. Perhaps it's worse in other respects, but as far as weight control, it's very, very good. It's very low in calories. It's very tasty. If you put it with lettuce and tomatoes, ooh, love it. Absolutely love it. Well, the bread was the downside. And then in the evening, a walnut whip, a chow mein stir fry. Now this is interesting. Instead of going for the actual pot noodles, neki noodles, that sort of thing, which was a chow mein flavour, this time let's go for a stir fry. Just make it yourself. Why not? And add a little bit of bread with that. It's healthier, so the bread kind of just, balances off. And finish off with a gin and tonic, which came to 1,689 calories, which is allowed. If I'd have had a chow mein pot snack or something, I think I'd have gone over that day. And once again, using fresh vegetables is far better than having snacks, which is basically dried food that expands with water. But there'll be other videos about that if they're not already released. Saturday was fruit and fibre with milk. So once again, go for fibre, which we're not really hard. We've got kind of fruit in there. Quite filling, so no morning snack. Fibre's slow really, so it'll keep going. And then for dinner it was Spanish chicken tonight with onions, spinach, yellow peppers. So once again, no potatoes in there, no rice. Just put in the onions, the spinach and the yellow peppers. Build it up with the sauce, the chicken tonight sauce. Some chicken fillets in there. Really, really nice. In the afternoon, quavers. Once again, quavers, unlike the previous week, quavers is a low calorie type crisp. So you probably can have 2, possibly even 3 packets of quavers compared to some other crisps on the market. Very low calorie. And then in the evening, homemade pizza, which there'll definitely be videos on this, which was a mushroom and pepper pizza. So it just gets rid of the veg that we was using from the Spanish chicken. And then that day, finish off with gin and tonic. Now I must admit that on this day, all the veg which used was from the market rather than supermarkets, so they're healthier. It wasn't the organic, which is the best as far as nutrients are concerned, but it's a lot of veg, a lot of fresh veg in there. And because of that, that came to 1,411, which is really going towards the lower end rather than the upper end. So a bit of an advantage on that day. And then kind of wait Sunday, the final day of these videos, the final day of trying to trash the plan to gain weight and prove that this book doesn't work, which I've done kind of miserably. we had breakfast, which was a fried egg sandwich. He had no morning snack, and he had a late dinner, which was just chicken soup and bread. And the reason why I did that, because we thought, well, it's the end of this period of time, so what I'm going to do is go out and treat myself to a doner kebab with salad and finish off with a bottle of red wine. And that came, luckily, must admit, luckily, to 1,750 calories. So, not too bad this week, not too bad at all. Exceeded one day was allowed, even both days were exceeded, was about 80 calories. I didn't feel hungry, and mostly, get the gin and tonic again. And the most important thing is, the days when I did go over, it was about 80 and 90 calories. So I more or less kept with the plan throughout the week. Exercise. Once again, the exercise is 10,000 steps a day, and that was achieved on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday and Friday. And because you're in week 6, you don't have to do it 7 days, you only need to do it 5 days a week. So Saturday and Sunday it wasn't achieved. I was quite active on Saturday, walking around town and doing shopping, but it wasn't achieved on the 10,000 steps, and Sunday wasn't either. So we had 5 days out of the 7 where the exercise was achieved. Not a bad week really, in fairness, it weren't a bad week at all. But with all these videos, it's time to jump on the scales, because the scales will never lie. And have I put weight on, have I stayed the same, or have I lost something? Oh, looking at that, I'll say loss. Again, we're using the habits, we're doing well. I'll say that's a loss, but let's find out for week 6, the final weigh-in. So as always is that we need to go back to the spreadsheet, we've just been on the scales, and we can now reveal that this week was a loss of £2, which takes us to £262. For our start of week 7, if we was going to continue. Looking at the £2 line, you can see that the line is now coming down just above the target line. Continuing this and doing it properly, ditching the bread, ditching the takeaways. There's 2 takeaways last week. That would easily then start to go back to a £3-4 loss for a couple of weeks, and that'll get you back under the line. But once again, it's a good result considering what I've been eating and what I've been doing and breaking the rules. More importantly, we need to go back to the smart scales. So looking at the kilograms, we have reduced to 119.3, which takes a BMI down to 43.8. The fat is reduced by 0.1. Now, interestingly enough, last week it stayed the same. By going back on here, it started to attack it again. The muscle mass was slightly down, but it can fluctuate by 0.2, so that's pretty normal. The water, once again, because we're using the habits, it started to go up, which is always a good sign. And don't forget, start of the plan it's 47.2, now it's 47.7, so that's quite significant. The visual fat, which is the internal fat around the organs, I know I always say this, but it is an important fat to reduce, and that's down to 33. So as we put £2 on last week and it went to 33.5, it's reduced itself back down to 33. The bone mass is reduced to 2.3, which means that if we're actually getting a little bit lighter, metabolism has to reduce also. So I would say that is very good proof, is that we haven't messed about really with this plan. We could have been a lot lighter than what we are, but we have lost in 6 weeks quite a significant amount of weight, considering I haven't really changed my eating habits, and in fact I probably ate more, forced more, had Prosecco, had wine, had gin and tonics, had takeaways, and still lost weight, which is completely and utterly unheard of. But by doing things like new habits rather than trying to do a diet, and these habits are really simple to do, so once you've mastered them, which takes 10 minutes once you've read the book, you're sorted for life. So if we put this into the graphs, And once again, weight, BMI, metabolism, all kind of matches each other if you look at the chart. The water took a dip last week because I stopped drinking water as much, and that's kicked back in, so that's increased, which was good. The muscles reduced slightly, but once again, you know, the body has to adjust itself, and it's going to use muscle, it's going to use bone, it's going to try and regenerate internal organs, it's going to regenerate bone, it's got to grow new skin or reduce the skin. You know, there's a lot going on, so the muscle fluctuates a little bit. It's nothing to be worried about. It looks worse than the graph, but it's within a 0.2 tolerance. The bone mass, once again, put weight on last week. It increases, loses a little bit more this week, decreases. The fat gradually going down. The visual fat seems to be going down quicker, as I've said before. I'm looking at visual fat plus fat. I would say that now you can really see a difference. Is that the visual fat is coming off, you know, it started to come off, you know, faster, I would say, even from the start. So once again, a final word to Dr. Shatter. He said it rewrote the bloodstream. Perhaps it's because it attacks the fat internally first, so all your organs and in your body can work far more efficient and far better than what you can do if you're overweight. And maybe this is this representation in a graph using smart scales rather than blood tests, because as I said at the start of this, not everybody wants to do blood tests. So that's it. That's been the 6 weeks. It's not been out. It's been quite nice. You know, I kind of recorded these videos in a fashion so that, you know, it's going to relate to everybody. It's difficult to lose weight doing it with the book. It's very, very easy. The book's available on Amazon. Buy it, give it a try, let me know what you think. Try not to comment on YouTube, as in, you know, tell me what you think through email. I find it far easier to manage email than what I do with Facebook and YouTube comments. But feel free, if you put comments on there, I do get alerted now again about comments on YouTube and Facebook. And I do spend the time to address them, probably in video format, rather than replying. But the main thing is, as the nature of the book says, if you don't try it, it's never going to be successful. If you do try it and it works for you, as it's worked for me, being naughty, then spread the word and let us all get that little bit healthier as we do. So probably the last thing to do, or there's 3 things to do, I would say. One is let's have a look at the jacket, see how that's doing. I know that I've lost weight, but I don't think I've lost that much weight to get the waistcoat on, so that's an ongoing project. What I'm going to do now is that making these videos, I've kind of made the camera a little bit more pulled because I'm back recording a lot of videos. So I've quickly moved the camera back to its original position and its original format. It gives you a more realistic view of what I actually look like today. So let's have a quick look at the jacket. And I would say at this point is that the arms are pretty comfortable now. When I first put this on, it was tight. It's probably a sort of jacket I'd go out with on a night out rather than around the office, but it's nice is that you can actually bend those arms and it feels far, far better than what it did 6 weeks ago. Over to the waistcoat, and once again that's, you know, well, yeah, we've got a bit more work to do on that one, but we're getting there, you know. It's a work in progress, shall we say. You know, we may do another selection of these videos, doing it properly, and let's see if we can get that waistcoat finally on. And then finally back to me in the studio. So I've removed all the filters now, and it gives you a better idea of what I look like. So if you have a look at the first week, have a look now, you'll see what the difference is. Weeks 1 and 2 was actually recorded during weeks 1 and 2. These later videos have actually been recorded a few months later. So, well, this is what I look like today. It's been fun doing this naughty week. I've got to do a good one. But thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. If you like what you see, not only like and subscribe, use the link below. Have a look at the book on Amazon. Consider buying it. There is a pre-read option, so you can read the first 20 pages or so. Let me know how you get on. So once again, thank you for watching. We'll see you soon with new videos.
If you have enjoyed this video, then please provide your support. by liking this video and subscribing to this YouTube channel. If you are watching on Facebook, then please like and share this video with your family and friends. And as always, thank you for viewing.